Hey everyone, this is Helena and I'm here with my good friend Matt Shaffer today. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, Helena. How are you? It's so good to see you again. It's been so long since we've done a live.
So I know, I'm just checking to make sure everything's working. Hi to everyone already in the chat. You guys are so awesome. Let us know where you're watching from. And we are so excited. We're just jumping on and doing a very last minute live stream that I'm actually really excited for this one today because I feel like I'm personally going to learn a lot. For those of you who don't know Matt, he is a empowerment, love, and connection coach who helps women connect deeply with their partners so they can create an extraordinary relationship that lasts a lifetime. And I hope I said that correctly. Matt is just awesome. Yes, Matt is just such an incredible coach. I get to hear all of the amazing testimonials that his clients hear all the time. And I'm just so thrilled to share him with my community. Everyone loves your videos on my channel, Matt. So I'm super excited for this one. Today, we're going to be talking about the surprising thing that blocks a man's ability to come close and truly connect with you, and how to turn it around to create a deep, lasting connection in your love life. So Matt, let's just dive in. We don't have too much time today, but let's jump into this material. What is that thing that blocks a man's ability to truly connect with us as women?
Well, it's interesting because I work with clients all over the world, incredible women. I'm so passionate about what I do, and so many of these women come to me, and I get so many questions about women saying, what's stopping him from giving me what I want, and how can I understand him better, and how so much of the focus is outward. So much of the focus is on the man, is on the person, and they come to me focused on a particular man or a particular relationship or a particular outcome they want out in the world. And the first thing I always have to do is help them understand that in order to connect deeply with someone else, the first and most important step, and the part that so many people miss out on, is you first have to understand and connect with yourself. And that isn't something that most everybody wants to hear because they're so focused outwards. But I'm telling you, until you actually understand and create self-awareness around who you are, and most foundationally important, what your beliefs are and where they came from and how they're supporting you or not, you are not going to be able to connect with men. And trust me, as a man who, is out there meeting women and dating women, if a woman is not conscious of her beliefs, if she is not aware of the different aspects of who she is, how she communicates, what her love languages are, what her attachment styles are, we're not going to be able to connect. I can't carry the load for two people, right? And most men haven't done as much work as I have. So it really boils down to the one thing that's stopping you as a woman from connecting with the men in your life. Almost always, the first thing is your awareness of yourself and your beliefs.
It's so true. Yeah. I mean, I always say the way to connect with a man's heart, and right, is always through your own heart first. As women, if we're up in our heads trying to create some connection or strategize and trying to figure out the perfect thing to say, right, it doesn't work, at least not in any permanent, lasting way. And by the way, for everyone watching, make sure to stay till the end of this video because I just found out, literally just found out about this amazing opportunity. Matt is going to do a whole program called the Mastery of Connection, and he's looking for beta testers to basically join this program for free. It's a $2,000 program, and he wants to make it available to you guys for free in exchange for your feedback on it, right? So make sure to stay till the end. We'll explain how you can apply for that. So how does a woman do that? I love everything you said, Matt. How does a woman start to turn some of these beliefs around and connect with herself in order to create this deep connection with a man?
So the first question, and this is all stuff that we cover in the course, right? The Mastery of Connection, like the whole first module is really big, and it's all based around, and FYI, it's launching next week. So be sure to sign up. I'm gonna tell you how to do that. There's a link in the broadcast box to be able to sign up, but we're launching next week. It is going to be amazing. And everything we're talking about in this live is going to be covered in depth, and you're going to get some great strategies around it. But the first thing is to really look at, what are the beliefs that I currently have? And what's so interesting is that beliefs are like ninjas, right? A lot of times when we try to look at our beliefs and we try to just observe them, like if I were to ask you, what's your beliefs? You'd be like, I believe I'm hungry. I don't know. Like we don't have beliefs. A lot of times don't exist at the conscious level. They exist at the subconscious level. And so we can't just see them directly. We have to look at them indirectly by looking at what our beliefs are creating in our lives. And that's where the magic comes in. And that's what, the whole beginning of my course is all about, is really helping you through different techniques to identify, what your beliefs have created, because your beliefs flow into your results. Everything around you right now in your life, your relationships, your work, your emotional state, everything is founded on your beliefs. So this is the core of the whole thing, is to identify where your beliefs are showing up in your life and then operating from there.
It's so important, yeah, because I think we can consciously say like, oh, I want a great relationship, I want a deep connection with a man, but if deep down we have beliefs like, I'm going to get hurt, right? Or it's not safe to open up and truly be emotionally intimate with someone. I feel like our subconscious mind will look for ways to sabotage things. Anyone ever been there? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
Can you relate to that too, Matt?
Yeah, 100%. And what's so interesting is that a lot of times what our beliefs do, I'm sure you've talked a lot about triggers on this channel. I know I talk a lot about triggers with my clients, but when we're not aware of our beliefs, what we tend to do is we operate from a space of reactivity. Okay, so when you're operating from a space of reactivity, you're operating from your wounds. You're operating from your triggers. You're operating, you're basically just trying to hide your pain so often, because we have this trauma, and this trauma has become layered down deeply inside of us, and it has influenced and created many of our core level beliefs. So until we really identify our beliefs, identify our trauma, and work to change them and release them, we're going to be pushing men away. We're going to be going out into the world with our walls up. How many of you ladies can relate to that? Going out into the world with your walls up and your guns out. That's what I say. Like a lot of my clients, like so many women are entering out there saying, I want to be in a relationship, but I don't want to risk being hurt, right? I want to be in a relationship, but I don't trust men. Well, when that's the way that you're going out into the world, how can you expect a man to be able to foster a meaningful relationship with you? That is the core block for men and women achieving intimacy with each other.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. I'm just checking in here with the chat. Yeah, Harpus Los Angeles says, yes, that's so true. Dawn is asking for it. Do you have some more examples of some of these beliefs that we can, as women, we can walk around with, and maybe we're not even aware of it, but it's definitely affecting a man's ability to connect with us? Do you have any more examples of these beliefs?
I have hundreds of examples, right? I get them from my clients almost every day as we're working through them. And just to give you like a common sort of example, right? Say you and your man are getting ready to go out to meet up with some friends and go out to dinner, right? And your guy looks at you because it's getting time where you got to go. Honey, you hurry up, please, or we're going to be late. Like let's get moving. And then you, without even knowing really why this is happening, you just panic, you freak out, and you scream at him, like, well, if we can't be 5 minutes late, then I don't want to go, and I can't believe you're putting all this pressure on me, and and you freak out and you blow up the situation, and you and him end up in a fight. And then afterwards, you're looking at the aftermath of this whole situation, like, why the hell did that just happen, right? And then what it comes down to is the fact that when you were a child, every time you would be late to the dinner table, your dad would berate you. He would humiliate you because he had his own stuff that he was dealing with, right? So you internalized the belief as a child that, being late means that, you're a failure, and being late leads to abuse, and that being late is just another sign that you're not enough, right? It triggers a really deep unworthiness conversation for you, an unworthiness belief. And so you can see, like, it'll just bubble up in a random situation, and you'll project onto it and create a huge issue in your relationship, And so that's just one example of, like, we get into these situations in our lives. They're all flowing back to the beliefs that are underneath them. And once we recognize these things and change these things, it changes everything. We have much more responsibility and power over our lives and our relationships.
And that is so true. I just see that happen over and over. Yeah, it sounds like this is resonating with everyone too. I'm just checking in. Kim says, that's me. I try not to show the walls are up. Yeah, but I think men can pick up on it, can't they? If you're kind of right.
Oh my God, men can pick up on your beliefs. They can pick up on whether or not you're open or not. Men, again, like I've said before, like, men are not consciously intuitive, but they are subconsciously or unconsciously intuitive. They're able to read your body language. They're looking to see if you're making eye contact. They're always trying to ask, like, is she interested? Is she connected? Is she activated towards me? Because for men, because we have to continually be sort of the driving force physically in relationship, we risk rejection a lot, especially in the early stages of dating. So we're constantly asking ourselves, is she safe? Should I keep going with this? Or if I go forward, am I going to get rejected? Because that's hanging over men's heads, especially in the early stages of dating. So if you're going out there into the world in the early stages of dating or in the early stages of a relationship and your walls are up and you're operating from a traumatized space and from a guilty until proven innocent space with men are going to pick up on it and they're going to give you that back. Because they're going to be like, well, if she's not willing to come out and meet me here, then I'm not willing to come out and meet her because I'm not going to put myself through that.
Sure,
And then what happens is that belief that you can't trust men, that led to you going out with your walls up, it gets reinforced because the men don't trust you back and they don't open up to you. And then the result that you got, another man ghosting you or another man shutting you down or another man just checking out, that result that you get reinforces the belief that caused it in the first place. And that's the tragic part of this, right? Is women are like, there are no good men out there, or all men are shady, or all men are this. And I'm like, well, no, honey, that's only because you've got a belief that that's what's happening. So you keep on working that belief cycle to yourself. And so like, that's what's so important, is to understand the cycle by which your beliefs create your results and how it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. I mean, it just plays out in so many different situations. Another thing I see all the time is if you have these walls up, you might attract men who are emotionally unavailable themselves or like just in it for the conquest. Like, okay, like this is a challenge for me. And then those are the kind of men who maybe like lose interest after they sleep with you or after they just know that they've got you, because that's the kind of guy they were in the first place. Then it reinforces your belief like, oh, I was right not to trust men, right? I was right to have these walls up. Just like you said, it reinforces. I see that so often. It's just tragic. Of course, I've certainly experienced that too. Talisha says triggers are definitely affecting my relationship. Sounds like this is definitely resonating with everyone, Matt. One question I'm seeing a lot is like, isn't a little bit of self-protection a good thing? And of course, I agree with that. I'd love to hear what you say. What's the balance of being open and receptive and not having walls up, but also protecting yourself and having boundaries at the same time? Can you speak a little bit to that balance?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we have to look at the come from, right? And the difference between walls and boundaries. Walls are designed to protect trauma, right? So walls are secretive, right? Like walls are blocking you from another human. So it's not about creating walls to hide your pain and to protect yourself from a scary world out there. It's about creating boundaries that demonstrate that you know who you are, you know what you want, and you're not willing to let somebody come into your space and violate that, right? So it's like a way of visualizing what a wall would be like a castle designed to keep invaders from, murdering, the townspeople or whatever, right? Whereas a boundary would be like, just like a fence that you can see through that demonstrates that this is the property line. And I would like it if you didn't come in here, unless I ask you to come in here, right? So it's a different energy and it's a different come from. So when you learn to set positive, loving, empowered boundaries with people and with men, instead of, walls that are shutting him out, pushing him away, a man respects boundaries. A man disconnects from walls. See the difference? It's a very different why and a very different come from and a very different energy that's created. And so I coach a lot of my clients, both in relationship and in dating, around, how to set loving boundaries that don't alienate or push away the men that they really do want to bring men in, bring them closer, right? And men want that too, but they're not going to let you just wall them out and shut them out.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you explain that. Yeah, we're gonna get to your guys' questions at the end. It's a new way I'm doing live streams. I should have explained that. We're gonna talk about the content at the beginning and do Q&A at the end, because for the people watching the replay, I think it's more helpful just to have everything right up front rather than trying to have this hour-long thing where they're like weaving their way through it. So I love everything. And I know you're gonna be talking about attachment styles too in this program. I don't know if you wanted to touch on that a little bit in this live stream. Anything you have to say on that? We did get a question about that too.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, beliefs are a huge component of the course, which, by the way, if you want to sign up to be one of my beta testers, there's a link down in the box below the video. Check it out, sign up, apply, and we want to create a huge tribe around this course. It's going to be so cool, right? So we're going to do a lot of boundary work, but we're also going to do work around not just knowing your love languages, but being able to really like connect with your partner about your love language and about their love language, and then how your love languages sort of like interrelate, right? Because there's the love languages that you use as far as what you're going to connect with your person with, and then there's the love languages that you receive. Those can be two different types, right? So it's important to know your love languages and those of your partner, and then to be able to like have that conversation in a powerful way. We do that. And we also talk about attachment style, because I think attachment style is a huge missing piece for a lot of people in relationship. Like my entire 20s got explained to me when I read one page of that book Attached, where they said that anxious attachment style people and avoidant attachment style people are drawn to each other, not because they actually fall in love, but because they trigger each other's attachment styles big time. And that was like a mind-boggling moment for me, because it explained all the toxic relationships that I got into in my 20s, right? So knowing your attachment style and the attachment styles of the people that you tend to connect with, the patterns that you tend to have around attachment is super powerful. And we unpack all that stuff in the course. And you really, again, these are all layers of awareness. And the more aware you are of who you are and also your personality type, the more you're going to be able to show up dating authentically, connected, self-aware, and able to manage your triggers so that you don't end up, you know, pushing away a man that you really want to attract. And that's what this all boils down to. So we're going to go through all that stuff. And then the last block that I see a lot of women come up with is a lack of clarity around what they actually want, a lack of vision around the kind of relationship that they want. They're so hung up on a specific guy or a specific look, they're hyper focused on that they've lost sight of the bigger picture of how they want to feel, right? So how we create our vision for the sort of relationship we want to establish is going to help us get much better results and much deeper connections with men too. So all these things are incorporated into the course, and all these things are super important, right? It's not just about texting him this or telling him that. It's knowing who you are at a bunch of different levels, what you want, and how to show up, you know, knowing who you are and what you want. That's the key to connecting with men. And that's the thing that, you know, keeps a lot of men and women from connecting the way that they could.
Oh my gosh, I love everything you said. And Soul of Sarah said, save Matt, that book was gold to me. You guys, I have a video coming out next week on what to do if you're with an avoidant attachment style person, how to inspire him to meet your needs and model more of a secure attachment. It's going to be so good. It's going to be good. So stay tuned for that. I think that's next Thursday. Kathy says, hello, first time here. Oh, yay, Jack Butler's watching. I love it when all my friends come and watch. Says, yes, boundaries are more like cell walls. Keep the wrong stuff out, let the right stuff in. That's a great way to put it.
I'm stealing that.
It's so good, right? Where walls kind of, they keep everything out. They keep out the bad, but they keep out the good too. So good. Yes. Can do anything else you want to say before I'm going to scroll through and get to these questions from the top? And any last words of wisdom on this thing that blocks a man's ability to connect and come close?
I would say that, you know, a lot of women I have found, a lot of women that I work with have such a deep fear of their own power, and such a deep fear that if they discover who they are and they show that to men in a vulnerable way, that men are gonna reject them, that men are gonna just, you know, not respond to that, that all men want a certain type of woman who acts a certain way and looks a certain way. And I'm here to tell you point blank, that isn't true. Men are attracted to energy. Men are attracted to authenticity. Men are attracted to a grounded, powerful woman, like real men. I'm not talking, you know, for lack of a better word, fuckboys. I'm not talking about fuckboys. I'm not talking about sketchballs. I'm talking about real, authentic men, the kind of men that you want to be in a relationship with. They're going to be the right type of men for you, are going to be attracted to the deepest expression of you. So don't be afraid to do this work. Don't be afraid to look within, and don't be afraid to show what you find within to the world, right? Because that will attract the men that are perfect for you. So that's like the by and large, this is all this stuff might seem a little scary to like go this deep and to look at all your junk and to release it. But trust me, underneath all the junk is the most pure, perfect, powerful, magnetic version of you. And that's what's going to attract the sort of man who's going to celebrate and cherish you, which each and every one of you are worthy of. And that's what I stand for with my clients every day. And that's what this course is all about.
Oh my gosh, how good is that, everybody? Like that, I love it when a male dating coach says something exactly like that, because that's everything I talk about. But I love hearing it from you guys. So good. Okay, starting from the top, getting to your questions. By the way, everyone, go check out the application to be a beta tester for Matt's new program, Mastery of Connection. It's a $2,000 program. He's going to offer it for free to this first group of people going through it in exchange for your feedback, right, and testimonials. So amazing opportunity to join totally for free. Matt's such an incredible coach. The link is in the description right now. It's the first link. So everyone go check that out. I believe it's in the comment section as well. So, okay, let's get to some questions. Do you have time for questions, Matt? I know.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Awesome. First one, can you suggest words to create this confidence or affirmations, Matt?
I mean, the biggest one that I tell my one of the biggest ones I tell my clients is I'm enough. Because so many women think that they have this deep underlying belief that they're not enough. And what's really interesting is that once you go all the way down to the deep core of our beliefs, there's usually 2 or 3 false beliefs, 2 or 3 negative beliefs that are bubbling up in 20 different areas in your life. And one of those biggest ones is I'm not enough, which is, other ways of saying that are I'm not worthy of love, I'm not lovable, I'm not attractive, And so if we can just repeat to ourselves, I am enough, I am worthy of love, I am perfect just as I am. I don't need to change. I don't need to become a different human to, I have a right to be loved, and this is all stuff that we unpack in this course. And this is all stuff that you really get to look at, is creating new affirmations, creating new beliefs, and then reflecting on them on a daily basis until they become a part of who you are. Because they're not going to feel, right up front. But that's why the process of affirmations is so critical to changing your beliefs.
I think that's such an important one, that I'm enough, because if you're operating, and I totally struggled with that and still do, I think as a lot of people can, right? If you don't think you're enough just as you are, that's going to probably make you create this facade or maybe this persona that you think a man is going to be attracted to. And like you said, men are sensitive to that. They can see right through it, or you'll attract the kind of guy who's just attracted to that persona that you're creating, right? And that's not going to lead to a lasting relationship, right, Matt?
It's not sustainable, right? When you operate from that space and you create this, image or this character that you think he's going to like, and you pretzel yourself around and you create this idealized version of yourself, then you have to keep that up, because you feel that pressure to keep it up. And then as soon as you drop it, he's like, well, who the hell are you? You're not the person I started dating. And then he's all thrown off. You go into beat up, and you treat it as a reinforcement of that underlying belief, right? That you are not enough. See, this is the process of our beliefs becoming our results, when in reality, the belief wasn't real to begin with until you operated from it. The only thing that made that belief that you weren't enough real was the fact that you used it to, behave from.
It's another perfect example of how that, it's our beliefs our beliefs get reinforced, because I think our brains are kind of hardwired to want to be right. So we're kind of going out there subconsciously seeking evidence. If we think all men have issues, or they're cheaters or liars, we're going to be attracting that. I've just seen it happen over and over. I've never seen any exceptions to that rule. Like your beliefs.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, absolutely. How to detach from emotional trauma. That's a big question. I'm sure you're going to go into that in your course, right? Anything you want to say quickly here about that?
Yeah, so emotional trauma, I mean, we do address it in the course big time in the first module. And something that I go through with my clients is to really look at the wounds that we've experienced, right? Look at that trauma, look at the originating event of it, and really focus in on the person who ever, created that trauma for you a lot of times, and finding love and empathy for them, and finding love and empathy for yourself, right? Because it's not like trauma usually ever originated just from you to that person, right? Usually, if your father was abusive to you, that usually means that he was abused. If I have a client who's, her boyfriend is very harsh with his son. Her boyfriend was a Marine drill sergeant, and he's very harsh with his son. And she wants to work on that with him, and I'm coaching her through that, right? But then I asked her, why don't you ask him why he's so harsh on his son? So she did, and he said, oh, well, my dad was actually physically abusive and humiliated me when I was a child. So like he thinks he's father of the year because he's doing better than his dad, but he's still passing on that trauma to his kids. So I mean, this stuff gets passed down through the line, and the way we can interrupt trauma is to look at it with love, and to look at it with, you know what, the buck stops here, the trauma stops here, and I'm gonna love that version of myself. I'm gonna forgive the person that hurt me, and I'm gonna let it dissolve. And if you can do that, I mean, it's incredible the ripple you create through life, right? Because for my client, she's working with her boyfriend to treat his son with love and respect and empowerment, so that he doesn't treat his kids like that, you know? So that's what we get to do, right? We get to look at our trauma with love and forgiveness and understanding and compassion, and then just release it, right? Because holding on to it isn't serving any of us.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, thank you for explaining that. And that was brilliant. Okay, Nikki asked, what if the guy isn't the driving force for physicality in the relationship? I'm talking a mid-50s man. What if our sex drives aren't matched? Is that something that is you're going to address in terms of like the connection and reconnecting maybe that aspect of the relationship too?
Well, it's something. Well, part of my course is office hours. So, in part of my course, one of the cool things about the course is that you're going to have a chance to connect with me twice a week and ask me questions that come up throughout the course. So you're going to have modules around all of these different aspects, and then you're also going to have a chance to ask me individual questions. And I can tell you for sure that difference in sex drives as men and women reach their 40s and 50s, the struggle is real, ladies. I know, I get it. You know, your sex drive keeps going up, and men's sex drive, unfortunately, testosterone levels drop, and it starts to change for men. And a lot of times men have a lot of trauma. And so what I always coach my clients around with that is, you know, having really vulnerable conversations with men around what they like and what they're into. Because if you're just adopting this philosophy where you're feeling hurt because your man isn't initiating with you, let's find out why. You know, maybe he's really stressed out at work. Maybe he's never, you know, given you oral sex because he had a traumatic experience in his 20s, in a real life story that's happened, you know, with clients, you know. And so it's really like having a connected conversation and helping him feel safe. Because if a man doesn't feel safe sexually, if he doesn't feel like a woman really wants to make him happy or wants to understand what's going on with him, he's just going to shut down and pull back. You know, safety creates a container where a man can be more sexual with you. So, but it starts with you being vulnerable as the conductor of the emotional and communicative part of the relationship and initiating that conversation, because a man ain't going to bring it up on his own.
Yeah, we should do a whole live stream just on that. I think that would be, yeah, wow. Okay, so just kind of checking in here. Yes, our beliefs are so powerful. The energy works so subtly to reinforce our beliefs. I agree. I totally agree. Lots of questions about what if I'm vulnerable and then I get hurt? A lot of people equating opening up and being vulnerable and taking the walls down to like, well, then I might get hurt. And of course, you know, I totally understand why that's a concern. Anything you have to say on that?
Well, I mean, part of it is there's no way to foster love without risking being hurt. Like, let's just be really clear about that. If you want to create meaningful bilateral love with another human, there is going to be an element of risk there. There's going to be an element of vulnerability that you're going to have to do, that you're going to get to do in that situation. And I mean, yes, you're going to risk a man, you know, leaving. You're going to risk a man shutting down on you when you open up to him. But the bottom line is, like, that's the price of admission to play the game. You know, and if you open up to him, if you're vulnerable with him, if you work through your false beliefs and you show up authentically and lovingly to him, and he says no thank you, then that's fine. Then he's just not that guy for you, and that isn't something personal, right? One of the biggest things I work through with my clients is that, you know, to stop taking how other people are treating you as a reflection of your value, as a reflection of your worth. So much of the pain women derive from men is by taking how they're treating them as a personal reflection of their worth. And it's not at all, right? And so it's really like not taking it personally and recognizing that if he sees you and doesn't want you in his life, then it's a blessing that you're no longer connected with him, because that's just creating space for the man who is, you know? So that surrendering and letting go process is because it all comes down to scarcity, right? Women are scared to lose the man that they have because they're scared there are no more men out there. But there's always more, you know, if you believe it. It all comes back to belief.
I totally agree. Oh my gosh. Yeah. A lot of questions, or a lot of people saying, oh, they like the distinction between walls and boundaries, two very different things. So everyone's loving that. I can't wait for you to read all of these comments. Dee Dee has a couple great questions. She says, what if you seem to have walls up, but really you're just feeling out the date and seeing if you like him? And then she asked, what does a wall look like? Lack of warmth, not wanting to talk about your past or your parents. Anything you have to say that, what does that actually look like? As a man, I would love to hear, like, what's your experience when a woman has walls up?
Well, I mean, I've been in the work a while, but even before that, I mean, you can tell when a woman shows up with walls, there's a rigidity to that. There's a fear in that, right? I went on a date with a woman one time where, I mean, every time I would try to like do any eye contact with her, she would look away and she would shut down on me. If there was even a casual, you know, brush of my hand against hers as we were walking, I'd feel her hand just like jerk away. Like she was like a frightened animal, you know, that had been like beaten, you know? And so, you know how a scared animal will it's like when a woman has walls up, a lot of times it shows up as coldness, it shows up as rigidity, and there's always an undercurrent of fear a lot of times there, and a lack of warmth, right? So that's not going to be conducive to a man, you know, being vulnerable, to a man being open. You can feel a man out and get a sense for him. Like, I'm not saying give him the farm and be super, you know, all over him on a first date. Like, you can be reserved, but you also want to make sure that you're being deliberately intentional with being warm and being open and being genuinely curious about him. Like, allow yourself to really connect with this man, you know, at some level, because it's only through that connection point that you're going to be able to really feel him out. Feeling him out with walls up is not going to give you an accurate understanding or recognition of who he is. That's another important thing to recognize.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah. Lots of you guys, I'm loving these comments. Dawn already signed up to be a beta tester for your connection program. Awesome. Everyone, the link's in the description right now. So go check it out. Totally free for my community, right? If you're selected to be in the program. Jack says the connection you're making between, he likes the connection between not being enough and operating from a persona or an idealized version of self. Yes. Oh my gosh, Jack has so much great stuff to say about that. Everyone go check out his channel. We should do a live stream on that one too. It's so huge. Lots of questions about how to deal with disrespect, what to do if a man's not respecting you. Is there a way to, well, I have a lot to say on this. I'd love to hear your thoughts though. Is there a way to set a boundary without putting the wall up, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the main mechanisms I use with my clients is the concept of your frame. Because here's the thing, you want to look at disrespect two ways. Is a man being disrespectful to you because he knows, you know, he knows your frame, he knows your boundaries, and he's consciously disrespecting them? Or is a man being disrespectful to you because you haven't, you know, showed up in your power and showed up with a clear sense of who you are and what's acceptable to you, and so he's just operating in the dark? If a man is disrespecting you because you haven't communicated clearly what's appropriate, then, you know, you really can't blame him. I'm saying within reason, right? Of course, there are things that are way outside of the bounds of what's appropriate and acceptable. But if you're feeling disrespected by a man, you always want to ask yourself, you know, what's my role in this situation? Like, don't just demonize a man for the fact that he's treating you in a way that you don't like. Ask yourself, have I powerfully expressed, you know, my beliefs around who I am and what I'm willing to, you know, accept into my life and in my relationships? Does he have a clear understanding of what's appropriate when it comes to me? Because if he doesn't know, he could be overstepping boundaries and have no idea, and he might really like you, you know. So asking yourself that, and so then, you know, all that. Does that make sense, Helena?
Oh yeah, I love how you explain that. Yeah. I love it. Kim, the sign up link, and for everybody, close the live chat, and then right next to the title, you'll see a little upside down arrow. Click on that. It's the first link in the description, or just scroll all the way down to the comment section, and the link's in there too. You can apply to be a part of Matt's new program for free. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to offer this to everyone. Someone asked a question about the course. Let me see if I can find it. Namita asked, will this course help us understand what our subconscious beliefs are?
That's really like one of the main functions of the course, is that I've built out a bunch of exercises within a framework to help you identify your beliefs. Because as I said earlier, your beliefs are an invisible box. You are operating from within this box, and you don't even know a lot of times what they are. You're not seeing the forest for the trees. So I take you through the process of how your beliefs flow into your results. And then at every step of the way along that flow, I give you an exercise to help you identify the beliefs associated with that step. So yeah, we get deep into that. And then I help you basically create a new empowering interpretation of all those beliefs so that you can, start showing up differently in your life. Because and honestly, I'm so passionate about this because this was my process that I got to do in my life. And this saved my life, was me identifying my beliefs and me identifying all this dysfunctional stuff that I was a prisoner of and learning to release it. Saved my life. So now I'm excited to be able to share it on a larger scale with the world, because this is why I got into coaching, was to help people change the beliefs about who they are.
So great. Oh my gosh. Everyone is just so, I feel like your clients are just like the luckiest people ever. Because I hear the testimonials too of just like the transformation that you really facilitate for people. It's so amazing. Another question, how to connect with a guy who has a lot of ego. Anything, do you deal with that with clients sometimes?
Well, yeah, and I always like to say, like, let's look at the difference between a man who's got a lot of ego and a man who's a narcissist, right? There's two levels, right? A man who has a lot of ego is a lot of men. A lot of men out there, and also, like, I'd love to hear a little bit more about what she says about, what his ego is like. Because men can be confident, men can know what they want, and men can own that. That does not necessarily mean that they're operating from ego, But if a man has a big ego, a lot of times he's very controlling. He isn't really open to feedback. Everything is sort of his way or the highway, right? And so you want to be, clear with men that have ego up front, that you're not just going to play the game on their terms. It's one of like the most important times to set boundaries, is that if you're going to start dating a man and you can tell up front he's got a big ego, like you gotta let him know in a loving, playful way up front that you're not just gonna operate in his world, that he gets to drop that down a notch and meet you on a level playing field. Because those guys, especially if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Guys with a lot of ego, right? So it's looking for those red flags up front. Are they trying to dictate every detail of the date? Are they creepy and misogynistic in their text messages? And ask yourself, is he a narcissist? Because I can't even tell you how many of my clients have PTSD from narcissistic relationships, and I've had to coach a couple women out of relationships with narcissists. And it's a big thing out there. So a man's ego is, it can be dangerous unless you're proactive about, your boundaries up front with him.
Totally agree. And sorry if I seem to be rushing through things. We're already like 10 minutes over, but can we take one more question? Because it kind of was right in line with this. Awesome. We were going to try and keep this one to 30 minutes, but we were laughing before we started because we always tend to go over. I always have so much fun doing these live streams with you. Okay, Dee Dee asks, if you put up a wall because you don't feel safe from something that was done or said in the initial phase of dating, the first 1 to 2 dates, is it too early to tell him? Does that seem high maintenance? So let's say early stages of dating, something he said didn't feel quite right. Is it too early to tell him, or does that seem high maintenance? I would say you shouldn't just stuff it down and not say anything. I would say there's a way to express that. Matt, what do you think?
What I would say, if a man says something that you, especially early on, before you really have a full read on him, and you don't like it, or it doesn't resonate with you in some way, rather than shut down and putting a wall up and creating a huge narrative around, because a lot of times what women will do is a man will say something that they don't agree with, And then they'll just make up a story about who that man is and what his character is, and they'll project, right, all their past relationship wounds onto that man's one comment. So let's just like call off the dogs on that, right? Cut off that narrative. Don't put your walls up, but instead don't just say, I don't like that you said that, but maybe ask him a follow-up question. So why did you say that? Like and I'll be honest with you, I had a girl that I was dating once. I said, I had this one client who I said, you know, wow, I talked to myself when I got on a call with her. I talked to myself. I didn't think she was going to want to work with me because she was older and because she was African American. And so, the girl I was dating at the time, she took that. She's like, Matt, I can't believe you're racist. And I'm like, I'm not racist. That wasn't me being racist. That was me and a lot of my biases that, you know, I didn't feel like I had anything to offer her because we were from two different worlds. And I was embarrassed that I thought that, because me and that client ended up working together and it was amazing, right? It was me recognizing, you know, my own, a flaw in my own thinking. But she made up a story about it that I was being racist, which I truly wasn't in that situation. So asking a follow-up question before you assign a judgment to the man's statement and having a conversation around it will help air that out. And then if he sticks to it, if he keeps being offensive, then you know, okay, that's how he is. But dig deeper when a man says something you don't like, so that you can get to the root of like what belief he's operating from. You know what I'm saying? You can find other people's beliefs too by asking them questions.
Yeah. Oh gosh, absolutely. Yeah. It sounds like Talisha signed up for the course. Namita, Fairy D signed up. Looking forward to unveiling my beliefs. She says lots of people signing up, but yes, there's no limit to how many people can apply. So if you're watching this, definitely go fill out an application to be a beta tester for Matt's new course, Mastery of Connection. And it's going to be totally free for the first group of people going through it, right? Because he wants to get your feedback and see how everything goes. So amazing, amazing opportunity. Let me take one more question. I think I got to all the other ones. Someone was asking about okay, Shauna, to sign up, go to the description. So close the live chat and click the upside down arrow next to the title, and it'll be the first link in there. It's also in the comment section down below. I hope I'm explaining that right. I don't know how else to explain it. It's in the description, but the live chat covers it up, and it's in the comment section. So it's the first link. Okay, yes, we're gonna post this live stream. People wanna watch it from the beginning. We're gonna post it as soon as we're done in a few minutes. Let me take one more question. Let's see. How does one release a dysfunctional past? Kristen asked. That's an amazing, huge question. I'm sure you're going to go into it very in depth in the course, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, really, the biggest thing, yeah, that's a lot of what the course is around, especially in the initial stage, is looking at your beliefs and how they flowed out of your past. Because all your beliefs come from your experiences, right? So it's looking at your past and being able to recognize that every situation and every experience you've ever had has happened for you. And every situation and every experience, no matter how hard and how heartbreaking and how brutal it may have been, it may have felt at the time and may still feel, was here to teach you something, was here to mold you, was here to shape you. And you know, you may not, when you're operating from that pain, if you're operating from that traumatized space, it's very hard to see how it's here to serve you. So that's why we get to create different beliefs around our past, you know, because otherwise we can become addicted to it. One of the biggest lessons of my own process and my own transformation was the realization for me that I had become addicted to the pain of my story, that I had overcome, you know, addiction and all this stuff, all this tragedy that I'd become addicted to that, to the fact that I had overcome it and I was wearing it like a badge of honor. And because I was so preoccupied with the pain of what I had survived, I wasn't able to look at what I wanted to create moving forward in my life. And so really, like, we get to like recognize and have gratitude for our past and then let it go. Like, take it for what we learned from it and then let it go and recognize that the present moment is our creation point. And why don't we operate from the present looking forward rather than from, you know, the past looking back? Like, let's focus on where we're at right now with gratitude and love, and then look with excitement towards the future and to all the beauty that we get to create moving forward. We can't change the past. We can sure as hell change the future by changing our beliefs.
Amazing. Yeah, gosh, that is so true. So Tris says, don't wrap up yet. It was too short. Oh, I love you, Tris. That is so sweet. I always try to go. A lot of people don't like, they only like the shorter videos. And for these videos, sometimes people say, I don't want it to end. I didn't want it to end. So I never know what to do. I try to I'm just doing the best I can. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are like over 200 people watching live. So thank you guys for watching all the way till the end. Dawn says, thank you both for your time and knowledge. Isa Barbara applied. Yes, awesome. Everyone go apply for Matt's course. Totally free $2,000 program he's offering for free for the first group of people who go through it. Amazing. One more question that came in from Krista. Can you guys do a video on lying? I feel like men lie sometimes to protect us, but is that justified? I see Matt nodding over there. What do you have to say on that quickly before we wrap up?
Men, just like women, lie for lots of reasons, right? They lie to protect their partner. They lie to protect themselves. They lie to protect their ego. That's something that men with a lot of ego tend to be very proficient liars, you know? So like, just like women, men lie for lots of reasons. And the greatest way to combat that is to, again, put that as a very clear boundary up front. Not that you hate lying, but that honesty is very important to you, right? And that you believe in integrity, and you're not going to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't operate from a space of integrity. And really, if you can show up, because one of the ways to really foster lying in your relationship is to show up with your walls up, operating reactively, operating from a belief that all men are liars. If you operate from a belief that men can't be trusted, you will attract men that lie to you, you know? And so like, if you can show up with your walls down and with a powerful boundary communicated that you want a man to be in an open, honest relationship with you, you know, that's going to make him feel a lot guiltier about lying. And it's going to make him feel safe to tell you the truth, because that's why a lot of good men, a lot of nice guys will lie. They'll lie because they're afraid of you getting angry. They're afraid of you being reactive. They're afraid of you, you know, telling them, you know, that you're done, right? And that's the thing. Like, and I just released a video on my YouTube channel about this, 3 ways to not activate his mama trauma. A lot of guys are really scared about getting in trouble with their women because they have all this trauma around women yelling at them because of their childhood. Okay, so if you have a tendency to be aggressive and bulldog your man and yell at him if he does something wrong, he's gonna lie, you know, just because he doesn't want to get yelled at, because he doesn't want mom to be mad at him. It's like you lying about the fact that you snuck out to go to a party as a kid. You know, well, I didn't go to a party. I was hanging out with Jeff at his house. No, you weren't, you know? So that's one of the reasons men lie. If you're super aggressive to him all the time, recognize that he's going to lie to stay out of trouble.
I love how you describe. I'm totally going to check out that video. Harpus Los Angeles said she just subscribed to your YouTube channel. The link to Matt's YouTube channel, everyone always wants to know, it's in the description too. So please go check that out. Matt's videos are amazing, as you can probably guess. Yeah, Jack says, I like that, Matt, inviting curiosity versus creating a narrative. Jack is so smart. It's like unbelievable. He's got this like V8 engine for a brain. I love getting your input. I know, right? He's like total genius at all this stuff. Valentina says, I'm exactly there, excited for the future. Everyone's loving this, glad to not have missed this. Talisha says, I feel like that's me, past abusive relationship, PTSD. I'm glad you signed up because I'm sure you're totally going to cover that in your course, right, Matt?
All of it. Yep. All of that stuff. That's all going to be covered. Exactly.
Okay, awesome. Someone's asking about your diet and fitness routine.
We can do that in a whole other live. I'd love to do that.
I'm just going over respond versus react. One is healthy, the other is full of issues. Reward him for telling the truth and talk it through. Makes so much sense. Love the analogy. Thanks, Matt. So many great. Nali says, so true, Matt. Overcoming trauma is the greatest. They really are blessings. You're on the other side of that pain. I love it. You guys are amazing. Oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. We are about 20 minutes over, so we're going to wrap up, but please go check out Matt's course, totally free, again, for the first, he needs beta testers, right, to go through the program and give him feedback and testimonials. So it's a $2,000 program he's offering for free just in my community, I think. So please go apply. The link's in the description and in the comment section, and starting soon too, right? Isn't it starting like next week?
Next Thursday. So if you do want to sign up, now's the time to do it. We're going to launch next Thursday with Module 1, and it's just going to be unfolding for there. It's a 30-day course, so it's going to be a 4-week course. You're not going to want to miss it. It will I genuinely believe if you commit to this course and you go through it, it will transform your life. I mean, and it will help you foster deeper connections, not just with men, but with all the people in your life. So truly, like, it's going to be foundational for everybody. This is a lot of the work I do with my clients, just sort of embodied into a course.
Amazing. Yeah, everyone go check that out. And thank you, Matt. This was so great for just like such a last minute thing. I heard about this opportunity and I'm like, I have to share it with my community. So I'm so glad you were available to do a quick live stream. Anything else you want to say before we close out?
I just want to let everyone who's watching live and everyone who's watching on the replay know that there's such incredible possibilities waiting for you on the other side of all these false beliefs that you've created for who you are and what you're worthy of. Every relationship you've ever dreamed of, every result you've ever wanted in your life, it's available to you right now. And if you do the work and if you commit to shifting and evolving into your greatest and highest possibility, you're going to create incredible results in your life. I've seen it happen hundreds and thousands of times, and it's available to each and every one of you. So I really hope you come with me on this journey, sign up for my course, Mastery of Connection, launching next week, and come along for the ride. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, amazing opportunity to join for free before you, right? And oh my gosh, and Matt is like the king of over delivering and he does not let anything go. Like I know, yeah, right? He's gonna totally help you get the results you want. He's all about that. I love it. So thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of the day. I will hopefully see you all again soon. And Matt, thanks again. This was amazing.
It was such a pleasure, Helena. Thank you for having me. And everybody who's watching, thank you so much for watching. Reach out to me, subscribe to my channel, sign up for my course, and let's get this party started. Let's do it.